I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is up, Bachelor Nation? How you guys doing? Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV. My name is Mike Feeling. I do not look like Jeff. I am not Jeff. Jeff is listening to his heart and evidently doing something else today. So we are Jeffless, but we have replaced him. I think you can see another gentleman on our panel. He will be introduced last as our amazing guest. Of course, guys, this is your Bachelor Listen to Your Heart after show. We are here every week breaking down every episode, and we're glad to see you guys. We hope you're staying healthy. I don't do the panel by myself. I don't know where she's at, but on my screen, she's below me. What up, Christine?
What up, everybody? It's your news and gossip queen back with you guys. I'm so excited for our guest today and to get into this episode. So I'm going to kick it back to our girl, Rachel, so she can say what's up.
Yeah, I'm not Jeff either, nor do I look like him. I am of the female persuasion. But hi, everyone. Rachel Swindler here, and I'm excited to talk about kind of a little uneventful of an episode, but excited to talk about music and to talk to Brandon. We're so happy to have you.
And there's, spoiler alert, there is our special guest. Filling out our panel today is Brandon. What is up, my man?
Hello, hello. Unfortunately, I am not Jeff either, but I'm happy to be here.
Obviously, Brandon, you were eliminated last week from the show, but we are super excited. We're really grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
First off, real quick, before we get into the episode, how's quarantine going for you?
Well, I realized when quarantine started that my life is pretty much a quarantine. I spent a lot of time alone, a lot of time out in nature, so it hasn't been tough for me. The only problem has been like not being able to go to the bars and see live music. But other than that, I'm doing good. I actually feel a lot more productive in this space, actually.
Awesome,
So,
man.
yeah.
Maybe you got some tips for us later, because I feel like I'm laying on the couch all the time. Guys, you know how we do it on this episode. You know how we do it on the show. We're going to break down the episode, okay? And then for the second half, we're going to go to Brandon. We got questions for him. We want to hear all the dirty secrets, all some of the behind the scenes stuff. And also, Christine is in the chat right now with you guys. So if you have questions for Brandon, hit him up, put him in the chat. Christine's going to read them out and we'll get right to him. But first of all, and Brandon, we're going to come to you last because we know you're new to our show here. We just get some overall thoughts on last night's episode. Rachel, what'd you think?
Like I said in the beginning, it was a little slow. All the drama left when last week, when Brandon and Julia.
Rachel's going in right away. Right away. I said we were going to be next.
all the juicy stuff left the week before, so it was pretty uneventful. I mean, the whole Matt and Rudi, as much talent as I think they have and how great of people I think they are, it wasn't as strong as of a storyline for me. I found myself kind of checking out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, but I did enjoy that we were able to watch the full performances this week instead of it being cut away to dialogue. So I'm really glad that the producers listened to me from when we discussed this last week.
They obviously did when they were cutting it up. Christine.
Rachel, you just actually touched on my favorite part of this episode too, which was the performances. I love that we got to hear just just stellar talent on the show, yourself included, Brandon. Like the performances have really just been the saving grace. Cause again, the Rudi Matt drama, I mean, I feel for them, but I just want to hear them sing, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know
Whether they work it out remains to be seen, but I'm just such a fan of those two.
Anybody who watches our show and who watches me is going to find this really strange because, Brandon, you don't know this. I'm like the strategy guy. I do Survivor. I do a lot of shows here. I like the gamesmanship. I find myself with this show, especially last night, I just wanted to see everybody sing. I didn't really care about the dates and stuff anymore. I wanted to hear them sing. Brandon, obviously, like we said, this is your first week not being included in the episode. And I'm going to figure that, you weren't around when they were filming this kind of stuff. Now that you got to go back and see it, what did you think overall of last night's episode?
Yeah, so first I had to pout for a few hours before I watched the show because I wasn't on it. So that was a little difficult, but I got over that quickly. You know what? I'm a little biased. I have so much love and appreciation for all those people on that show. We created a really tight bond really quickly. I love the music aspect of the show. I'm a big fan of that. That's kind of why I joined the show to begin with. So I thought they were beautiful performances. You could definitely tell the couples that are getting closer together through the performances and just through spending time together. I'm rooting for everybody.
That's awesome, man. That's fun to hear. That's good. A lot of times people come off with bad feelings and bad vibes and stuff like that. So really glad to hear it. So real quick, let's go through the episode. So obviously we know Chris Harrison comes out as he loves to do, and he tells us, guys, game is over. We're going out to Vegas. Brandon didn't get his own tour bus. Everybody else did, unfortunately.
I rode my tricycle out there behind him. I was a few days late.
It would have been fun. So everybody basically goes out to Vegas. Now we're in LA, the three of us, right? We know that trip out to Vegas is only about 4 hours. So they really, to me, I was like, well, they're really stretching it here, doing a lot of little stops and stuff, because it's a pretty straight shot and it's not a big deal. We stop at some convenience stores and things like that. Essentially, the whole group gets to Vegas and checks into their hotel, except for Matt and Rudi, who we find out in the post-credits stayed at a little haunted hotel and to try to kind of bond. And Rachel, this is the beginning of basically, like we said, the only storyline of the episode, them taking some extra time out to kind of see where they are. Where are you feeling about them right now?
I mean, I just thought that portion was kind of, I was like, oh, okay, well, we create our own rules. And so I don't know. I was just like, I didn't know if it was like, I wasn't like excited about it, but I do have a feeling that Matt and Rudi are on their way to win this. Based on what I saw last night. I will say that. And I do think that their bond at the end of this is going to be very strong, because I think that Matt is holding back, and I think that he actually does have really strong feelings for her.
Brandon, were you surprised what you saw from their relationship at this point, yesterday's episode, from what you know?
Well, from what the show showed us is Rudi was a little fickle in the beginning. So I can understand Matt's like wanting to be a little conservative about it. I also know Matt pretty well, and he's been burned a few times. So he's just like wanting to take things slow, which is not a possibility in a reality TV show. But he's trying to be authentic to himself, I'd say, definitely. But I know they have a lot of love and respect for each other. Absolutely.
So we finally get out to Vegas. Christine, did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, I love that you brought that up, Brandon, because especially hearing a guy's perspective, especially when a girl really likes a guy and you want to like put yourself out there and you want to like show that you're interested, but that can also sometimes push someone in the furthest direction away, especially if, like you said, someone like Matt who has been burned and maybe would want to take it slow, considering how chaotic things kind of started out when there was like miscommunication. So as much as I'm like team Moody and I want them to work it out, I understand why Matt's kind of like, let me pick and choose my words here. I will say he had a poor choice of words later on in the episode, but we'll get to that.
Question. Can I ask Brandon a question really quick? Just because we're talking about the length and how short of a time you guys had. When Chris Harrison walked in and he said, all right, or go home, how much time from when you first arrived to that point did you have to actually dive into these relationships to be in love?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I can answer that specifically, but I can say it was a lot less time than they might have conveyed on the show itself. So
Gotcha.
There were a lot of uncertainties and a lot of there was a lack of ability to get to know those people. We were kind of just like, it's go 1,000 miles an hour, go home, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it really puts it into perspective when you think about that, knowing that and think back on all the stuff we saw. So, Christine, I was going to go right back to you with the dates. Chris and Bree do the Little White Chapel where they sing for a couple. Jaime and Trevor go ice skating or hockey playing at T-Mobile Arena. They say, I love you. Ryan and Natasha go car crushing, which looked like the most fun and something perceivably people who are just friends would go and do. I don't know. But before we get to Matt and Rudi, because they're kind of the most interesting, Christine, anything to say about these three?
These three, I would say those dates, I mean, Jaime and Trevor, I felt like a little bit of a fake out with the editing, because they kind of had us fooled for a second there that maybe Trevor wouldn't reciprocate these feelings, but him and Jaime seem to be a sure shot at this point. I agree with you that Natasha and Ryan's date looked pretty fun. We didn't get a lot of it, but we did get a nice moment between them where Natasha she said something nice that I liked to Ryan, that he's a man of few words, but when he does say something, it's impactful. It kind of gave me like a cute moment between their relationship, right before they ultimately got sent home. But I thought that was really cute.
What did you think, Rach?
Well, I got really nostalgic because I lived in Vegas for 6 years. So I know all these places, the T-Mobile Arena, Vegas Golden Knights, go Knights, go. So Brie and Chris's day, they faked us out there because I thought they were about to get married.
Me too. I sure did.
I was sitting there like, no, y'all didn't. So I thought that their date was really cute, though. Very sweet. It felt like the producers did a really good job of, again, putting the dates with how far they think the relationship is going. I mean, they're putting Brie and Chris in a little white chapel, and then they're putting, Natasha and Ryan at a dirt yard smashing stuff. So I felt like you could kind of see where each relationship was going. Trevor and Jaime, I really thought that their date was really cute. I don't know. I thought it was actually really cute. So I enjoyed it. And then what'd you say?
Oh, go ahead, girl.
Yeah, no, that's how I felt about that. I mean, we're going to get into Matt and Rudi next.
We are, yeah. I mean, Jaime and Trevor's date was extremely quarantine appropriate by themselves in the entire arena on ice. Brandon, what'd you think? Which one of these would have you been on?
Oh, the ice hockey arena for sure. I grew up playing hockey as well, so have a huge passion for being on the ice. And there's something really romantic about teaching a woman to skate, although Jaime held her own really well. But yeah, that was a really romantic thing to have the whole place to themselves. That would be my vote for sure.
Nice.
I wanted to give Jaime a sweater so bad. It was not just me. I was like, man, it looks cold in there.
She said crop top.
She only has crop tops. It's fine.
I love her though. She just goes for it.
Let's talk about Matt and Rudi. Obviously, we keep going with the main storyline, right? So they go see Shaggy. By the way, side note, Shaggy did a really cool video where he debunked Caribbean and Jamaican fake accents. It's awesome. Go and search that if you guys like Shaggy. Very funny video. So Shaggy does his performance. They get called up on stage, of course. They get to sing a little bit with him. And then the main crux of it, they go back and they're talking. And I loved it. Rudi, I was like, yeah, girl, I've loved Rudi since the beginning. And Rudi was like, you know what? Forget it. I don't care. I love you. And then Matt with maybe the worst answer you could possibly have of basically saying, wow, that was really brave of you to say that. I was like, what are you doing, bro? Okay.
Actually, I wrote down what he said.
Please do.
You're very courageous for speaking your truth, and I appreciate you doing that. That's what he said.
So I got a lot of thoughts on this because we've talked about this, and I've talked a lot about this on other shows that I've done, specifically Married at First Sight, where it's a similar type of wham, bam, we got to fall in love. We got to, everything's accelerated so hard. And the necessity to say the words, I love you, and what that means, and should there be so much stress on it? I'm going to go last, though. Let's go to Rachel. In this moment, what are you thinking for these two? Are you chastising Matt? What's the deal?
I mean, I applaud Rudi for speaking her truth. That was her real, true feelings, and she spoke them. So I'm proud of her for doing that. I mean, she herself has admitted that she goes a little fast, but I mean, that's what the show kind of calls for a little bit. You're trying to win that money, or not money, but you're trying to win, something really big at the end of this. So if you're feeling something, you need to speak it. So I applauded her for that. Of course, I did not like the way that he handled that, but I mean, maybe he was having a lot of anxiety. Maybe he was feeling like that's it's a little heavy for somebody. He should have chosen a different wordage, clearly, instead of exhaling and saying what he did. But I will have to say, what I took away from it the most was how Rudi handled herself afterwards. She didn't act all psychotic and crazy. And like we saw kind of in the first couple of episodes, did she cry? Did she walk away? Yes, but that's a natural emotion. I really applauded the way that she handled herself, because she handled herself way more maturely than I thought she was going to.
I think that's interesting. I'm going to comment after that. Once again, guys, if you're following us and you're hanging out with us in the chat, Christina's looking. She's writing down questions for Brandon. So we're definitely going to get to your questions after. Brandon, I want to go to you next, though, because what you said about Matt being burned a few times in the past, you're good, you guys really formed a bond on the show. Were you surprised by the way he reacted to Rudi last night?
Oh man, I'm always surprised every time I watch that show. So I've talked to him since, and he definitely has replayed that in his mind a few times after what happened. I think he was trying to be authentic, and I really commend him for doing that. A deep breath and a long sigh is probably not the best response. But I probably would have let her know how much I appreciated that, and I think he probably wanted to. It's hard, man. It's tough because I think he never wanted to say something he didn't mean, and he didn't want to feel pressure to do that, especially when the camera's on your face. You never know. I think he was true to himself, but I don't think he articulated it in the best way possible.
Christine, what'd you think? And then I'm gonna blast him.
No, I think you guys all kind of said how I'm feeling. And again, it goes back to what I said before about just communication between these two specifically. There's a way to be a little bit more delicate with it, but I think we've all been there in the moment where you say something and it didn't really come out the way you intended, but I think they both were speaking their truth, honestly. And for better or for worse, it had to come out because Rudi took that chance in saying it, hoping it would progress the relationship. And Matt kind of was like, hey, I'm going to just pump the brakes real quick. Not quite ready to go full speed ahead. And that was important for them to at least check in again and know that that's where they're at. As much as it hurt for my girl, Rudi, it's better to know than to just kind of blindly run into it. And I know you're going to take it away, Mike, but I did want to ask you, Brandon, we've been covering this show for so long. We kind of know the whole Bachelor world and what it means to kind of sign up. You kind of know you're getting into this to go full speed ahead, and you're kind of expected to say I love you at some point. Did you watch the show before? And did you feel that pressure going into it in terms of obviously knowing the premise, but knowing that this is something kind of common?
Yeah.
Sure. So I foolishly have never seen a Bachelor show in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of wanted to go in just fresh, clean, no expectations, no assumptions, right? I don't like to start relationships like that, but looking back, I think that would have been really beneficial for me. So yes, I thought it was going to be accelerated, but I had no idea to what extent. And this was really surprising for me. But I think most people handled it well. I think everybody stepped up, and obviously some relationships did much better than others.
Yeah. Not like Michael on night one. So here's what I'll say.
I love that guy.
Here's what I'll say. Both of them frustrated me because Matt, to me, earlier when he talked to Ryan, had the perfect response. It was like, I think about her as soon as I wake up. When she's upset, I want to comfort her and things along those lines. I was like, bro, why didn't you just say that? You don't have to even say I love you. Affirm this kind of stuff of how you're feeling, because that's not a lie. He already said privately that that's how he was feeling. I think that would go a long way. I was a little bit frustrated with her. I agree with you, Rachel. I like the way she handled it. But for me, in watching so many of these shows, especially with the accelerated timeline, it's just impractical to expect people to just fall crazy in love in a week or something like that, right?
Yeah.
You can only go so far if you're actually being honest. If you're faking it, whatever. So for me, I think she was feeling that 100%. I think everybody just kind of in life, and especially with things like this, if you go into it with no expectations, you're way better. So if she was like, okay, I'm going to tell him this, and I don't care what he says because this is me, and I really care about him, and if it takes him longer, that's cool, but I want to get the cards out on the table. And she had said that, I think the rest of at least this episode for her would have been much better. None of the upset, none of the doubt and stuff going into their performance that would hurt them and things like that. So I just wish that would be what a lot of contestants and people on these kind of shows would come to it with. No expectations. If you want to put it out there that you're falling in love, you want to use that word, to not get crushed because the person you've known for 37 seconds doesn't say it right back to you immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah, that's it.
Our relationship guru.
Yes, the strategist.
Tell you, Brandon, you should have talked to me before you went on the show. I mean, I would have had
Listen, next time I do this thing, if I ever do it again, I'm calling you straight up.
You come right up here. So we get done, and of course, now we get to the performances. Super quick, Brandon, do you guys have no input on the song choices at all?
Yeah, that I'd love to know.
Not at all, unfortunately.
Not at all.
Yeah, I was telling people in past interviews, I wish hopefully going forward, if they do a season 2, I hope they give you 2 songs and then you get to pick, so you're a little bit more in control of your destiny.
Right.
Because a lot of us didn't get songs that were really in our wheelhouse.
We had also said, I think, Christine, if this was your idea, or I can't remember, but when they start out the episode, like the first night, have you guys perform the first night. I
Yes.
think
We'd like to see that.
Yeah.
So because
Yes.
solo.
Okay, that would be cool.
Because then it's like, I think that talent, as talent is very, very attractive. And I think that could also be something that sparks before you even speak to somebody. So I just thought that would be something cool.
Yeah. Chris told us to not be musical in our approach for the first week. And then
Interesting.
I took that literal because again, I had never seen the Bachelor. So I'm like, all right, this guy knows what's up. He looks confident. So I didn't pull out or anything, but I think that would have been beautiful because it would have helped the musical creative aspect of the heart kind of resonate with that partner. Yeah, I think that's
maybe they didn't want people to be like, oh, well, that person's really talented, so I'm gonna go after that person, and that one's
That's
not
what
very
I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
That would have
maybe
been an
that's why.
automatic. Yeah. So to that extent, you get no choice in the songs, but it doesn't matter because Chris is handing them out. So Brie and Chris got Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis, of course. Jaime and Trevor, Just a Kiss by Lady Antebellum. Ryan and Natasha, Perfect by Ed Sheeran, which they put their extreme big twist on it. And Matt and Rudi got Shallow, of course, by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, that I hate listening to because I think it's super sad.
But
I can't stand the movie. It's too sad.
It's the impetus of this show, though, right? Isn't that what Chris Harrison kept saying? Like,
100%.
we loved
100%.
A Star Is Born. Like, boom, here you go. A Star Is Born in episodic form. There you go.
Yeah.
It's just a personal thing. I hate the sad stuff. So everybody goes off and starts practicing. Obviously, we still get the tension and stuff with Matt and Rudi. So they need to work that out by the end, right? So let's just go right to the performances, if that's cool. Anybody want to say anything about the in between?
Well, Brandon, which song would you have liked to get out of those? Like, what's in your wheelhouse?
Man, probably the Ed Sheeran song, Beyonce. I'm kind of an huge Ed Sheeran fan, and that's kind of my style of music. So yeah, I think we would have done. I probably would have done more in the vein of the original song, though.
Yeah.
It's a great song. You don't really need to mess with it, I think.
Yeah. They said it best. I think it was
beautiful.
Evan Ross. He's like, man, that's a special song,
Yeah.
I appreciate the risks that they take. I know we're just jumping into it now, but it was just like you take a risk and it can work against you.
Absolutely. And you brought up Evan Ross, of course. Evan Ross and Ashley Simpson, Pat Monohan from Train, and then Arie and Lauren from Bachelor Nation are our judges this week. Good group of judges hanging out in that awesome venue there in Vegas. Brie and Chris go first, and unsurprisingly, they're really, really good, right? So Brandon, just to let you know, our crew for a while, I think it's fair to say, right, ladies, tell me if I'm wrong. Our crew for a while have pegged the final two to be Matt and Rudi versus Chris and Brie. That's who we were kind of going for a while. At least I was, admittedly.
I admit I predicted that Jaime and Trevor would win.
You had Jaime and Trevor, true, and they still could. So, so what did you guys think about Chris and Brie? Brandon?
Man, they were such a solid couple the whole time. When I was in the house, like I think Chris saw Brie, they connected probably initially, and he's like, that's it, that's the one. And I remember talking to both of them, how romantic their first night was. I was trying to talk to every person I could. I was the last person in the house. I felt like I was playing catch up. With Chris, I think Chris said, that woman is special. She's beautiful. She's charming. We have a lot of the same moral values. So I think he's just like, I'm in and fully committed. And I think it paid off because they have such a tight bond. And there's never been any type of rockiness within their relationship. And it's been beautiful. And it's paid off on the stage as well.
Christine, what did you think? I kind of picked a little bit up on what the judges were saying. Chris, for some reason, initially in this song, the very beginning was a little bit soft or weaker, or something was a little bit off. They definitely nailed it through the end.
Yeah, I think it just took a little time to really pick up. I don't know if it was nerves or whatever the case was. I'll chalk it up to that because we've said it time and time again on our show that Chris is great. He's got such a great voice and really great range when he leans into it. So it wasn't the best start. But yeah, I think it did come together, and I like that they're progressively getting more comfortable on like performing and still being into each other. I think that's something that maybe all the couples you can speak to as well, Brandon, had to find that balance between, and they are so like intimate. It's like, okay, but we want to be in on it too, So it was cute.
I can't speak into that.
Right. Well, Maybe not.
But yes, I watched a lot of people falling in love. It was beautiful.
Rachel, what do you think of these two?
I enjoyed it. I agree. The beginning, the judges were talking about how it might have been a little too low for him. So maybe that was the case, but it started off slow, but I loved the way that they changed it up at the end because we all know the song and how classic and timeless the song is. So I enjoyed it. I agree with all of you guys.
Nice. Well, next up we had Jaime and Trevor. I thought this was their best performance yet. As we've kind of criticized a little bit over the past few episodes, we didn't have a whole montage of Jaime being upset and nervous and freaking out or anything. They kind of real purposely switched it around and showed her like, I'm ready to kick butt and here we go. And I thought it resulted in their best performance, Christine.
I have to agree. I've criticized Jaime for this specifically several episodes this season, just because I think she's so cute. And I think in a lot of ways, she's like, her nerves are relatable, but it was frustrating me to see it like stop her from giving us something. And then this episode, I was like, yes, girl, I feel you. Now I see the passion. I see like how much you really want this. And it was great. She wasn't nearly as awkward on stage. And even if she was a little bit, the judges kind of called it out. Like, It's cute. It's like part of your thing. And I think now she's really owning it. And that's something you can sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon, I saw a smile there real quick. Is it weird to hear people analyze stuff like on the episodes that you were on when you know the whole backstory of everything that's going on?
This whole experience has been weird, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool. I mean, listen, the beautiful thing is it's entertainment. Everybody has their own viewpoint and their own perspective. I'm just like soaking it all in. It's beautiful to watch because I've never really been a part of anything like this. It's fun to see how everybody has their own place and there's validity to all of it. It's really cool.
What do you think of Jaime and Trevor's performance last night?
Yeah, I thought they crushed it. I thought it was a perfect example of like when Trevor stepped up and became the partner that Jaime wanted him to be. She felt so strong and grounded, and they've always been great together. But I think Jaime said, "Okay, I feel safe. Like I feel like he has my back, and now I can shine the way that I'm supposed to." And that's just a beautiful relationship kind of unfolding. They're both super talented. Trevor's an anchor, and Jamie's like totally attached to that anchor now, and they're crushing it. Yeah, I'm proud of both of them.
Wow, you brought up such a great point. Someone in the chat was just saying the same thing about the perception being that Trevor was kind of carrying Jaime, but now he's carrying her in a different way because he gave her that validation.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, Brand. That's exactly what I wrote down. Finally she got that affirmation that everything's gonna be okay. I'm here for you. I am falling for you too. And then she's like, oh, okay, now I can let go. So that was really nice. I also want to point out, just because I thought it was really funny, when Lauren, when she went, you guys have a goofiness about you, just like me and Arie do. And it was like really stoic. She said it. And I was like, but do you?
Do you really?
But they were like president and first lady last night. Can we point that out for a second? I was like, wow, I need to go do something with my life. Go to the hairdresser, go to the salon.
Well, they're going in on their own YouTube channel right now. So if you want to see what they look like in quarantine, you can check it out. They're really going for it.
Really quick, Mike, I wanted to shout out the chat just because we've got a lot of questions coming in for you, Brandon.
Right. We're almost there, I promise.
I've taken note. I just want to shout you guys out. J Jobs, Candace Lavelle, Nicolette Magda, Amanda, lots of great questions. Jasmine, keep them coming.
We're gonna get it. I'm flying through. So next up, is everybody ready for tinfoil hat time? Here we go. God, Ryan and Natasha. Okay, so Ryan and Natasha obviously start out perfectly, nice and together with each other. And then there's a very obvious shift in the music. They're putting their own spin on it. Ryan picks up his guitar. Natasha moves the microphone like 3 times and then out of the way and then picks up the microphone. And then we find out she sang the wrong lyric. Right? Okay. And then God bless them. Your background people have been so cool the entire time. That bass player just puts his shades on. He's like, that's right. I'm just going to play. Everybody's so cool. And then the zoom in on the drummer last night was amazing. He's just like, what? And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. So they go to finish and obviously big disappointment and things like that. As a performer, as a friend, Brandon, what'd you feel right in that moment for these two?
Man, I love Ryan so much, and he's been crushing it the whole time, the whole season. Natasha and I didn't have the best relationship. I still care for her as a person, and I want her to be well as a performer. To be honest with you, here's the deal. I didn't even notice that there was a mess up until there was a reaction to the mess up. And I think that's the art of becoming a great performer. If there is a mistake, and there's always mistakes, however minor or major, you just flow through them. The difficult part was Ryan grabbing the mic and then trying to play guitar with a microphone in his hand. I've never seen it done, and he still pulled it off, which is just kudos to him, man. He's a talented human being. And again, I didn't notice the mishap until they conveyed it with their faces and their reactions, right?
Right. I didn't really notice anything until she took the mic stand away from him. And I was thinking, why are you taking that away?
Yeah,
it seems exactly what you guys were planning. Christine?
That was my first indication that something was off, because again, we don't know the way they vocally arranged this. So I didn't know that she's saying the wrong lyric in that point, but then it was like a look on her face. And I feel like I almost heard her kind of like come out of character with one of the lines. I was like, is she laughing? Like, okay. And then I was like, all right, something's definitely off. It became obvious. And I was personally shocked, because for as controversial as Natasha's been with her behavior as a performer, I feel like she was so solid. Like, she's someone who I was like, I don't think this girl has a bad day. Like, with a voice like that, like how? So that was shocking. And I see a lot of tinfoil hat theories in the comments right now.
Conspiracy theory is going to come in. Hold on.
You got it.
Rachel? What'd you think?
I mean, I agree with you guys. Christine, I was thinking that same thing. I was like, well, if Natasha can mess up, then anybody will mess up. Because she's been up here just walking out choreography, hear me roar the entire time. So, you know, as a performer myself as well, it was kind of like, oh, okay. The queen can mess up. I guess. I don't know.
We know obviously they get eliminated. So we'll talk about the conspiracy stuff after. Let's just comment real quick, because we come full circle. We had the drama through the entire episode and the doubt and the self-doubt and all this other kind of stuff. And then Matt and Rudi come out and once again, to me, just absolutely destroy it. Just gorgeous. Rudi, I think I said this last episode or sometime, I wish she had the dose of self-confidence I think that she really deserves, because I think she's amazing. And at the same time, I don't want this big dose of self-confidence to take away some of the talent. Like, I don't know. There's some weird medium, but I think she deserves a lot more credit and self-confidence because she's amazing. Rachel, what do you think of how they just capped the night off?
I mean, you can't go wrong with that song. Come on. Shallow is like the hit of the century right now, the hit of the year, whatever. Like, if you can crush that song, you best believe a live audience is going to feed into that. And with Matt and Rudi singing that, you can't go wrong. So, and it was perfect for what they were going through. I mean, the producers picked the song perfectly. They placed it right where they needed to with a bow on top, and she killed that note. It was magic. It was magic.
It was gorgeous.
And that was that performance. Sorry, that was the performance where I said these two are going to win. And that's my prediction now.
I have to agree, Rachel. You said it all. I'm not gonna lie. I shed a tear. I was like, "Come on, you better!" Like, I literally was like, "That's how these performances get me going on this show." Seriously, like, so good. I can't imagine how they're gonna top that in the finale. I almost kind of wish they saved it. So I don't know.
Yeah, Brandon.
I've always been a fan of Matt and Rudi. They move me every time they sing. I want to be them when I grow up. They've got that healthy amount of like punk rock. I don't give a fuck. But then they show up. I'm sorry if I swore it.
Sorry, man.
Oh, you're good.
But they show up and they were so intimate and so deeply connected and so confident in their foundational skills as musicians that they can just let the emotion come. And I will say, I think that pent up disconnection actually brought them closer together.
Yes.
Because there was this outpouring of like, Matt, I want you to love me. And Rudi's like, and then Matt's like, I do, but I just don't know how to say it, you know? So they said it through the song, and I think they did just a phenomenal job. I think that was the performance of the night to me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And of course, at the end, I usually fast forward, to be honest, because I feel like I always know who's going to get eliminated, and I was right. Ryan and Natasha. Okay, so first up, any of you three, was anybody surprised that they were the ones eliminated last night? No. Okay. So I'm normally in the chat. Today, Christine's in the chat. I don't know what the tinfoil theories. my guess is we've talked a bunch about Natasha being a producer plant. And as soon as I saw this, I thought, wow, how likely for the person that we think is almost a plant to go out on something outrageously crazy, like she completely flubbed a lyric, right? Or a line and came in wrong and just messed up something that, no disrespect, seemed like almost a little bit more amateurish than her level, which I've said the whole time is insane. I said, I've been saying since the beginning that this show is a vehicle for Natasha. Like, she's just gonna win and go on to get a contract. So let's go around the horn again. Brandon's stopping, so we're saving him for the last. Rachel, what did you think? What do you think about this elimination?
Well, I wasn't thinking about that side. I don't know. I was just thinking she messed up, and I was like, oh, okay. But I wasn't surprised about them going home. I'm very curious what Brandon thinks of their connection.
Yeah, go right to it.
Put it on the spot.
What do you think? What do you think, Brandon?
I'm just curious.
Yeah, we've been seeing the relationship as less romantic and more friendly, and kind of just not seeing them as a pair. To the extent you can comment, what do you think? And what do you think about them getting eliminated?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, listen, all these people are my friends, so anybody eliminated it's rough because I know how that feels.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, I could have done that better. There's, you overanalyze everything, the mistakes instead of the victories. But I wanna root for everyone. It was very challenging to want to be on Natasha's side.
Gotcha.
Because of the chaos that she created among the entire house. So I still care for her as a human being. I want the best for her. I think karma is a real thing, and I think it kind of showed its ugly head on that performance. That's the best I could say without.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Christine, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, I guess you make a good point, Brandon. Maybe she did have a little karma coming to her, considering some of the things that she's done in the past. But I will say, I mean, Jay Jobs in the chat flat out asked, they think that Natasha threw the performance, and I don't know. It's hard for me to get behind that again, because like I said, I see her as someone who like respects her craft and wouldn't do that. I feel like she just really got caught in that moment with either nerves or the pressure of the situation. Like, we're all human. If I was top 4 couples in a competition like this, I'd be, crapping my pants with nerves. So I guess you get to a point, especially when we can all kind of see the holes in her actual relationship, where maybe it all just kind of gets to be too much.
Yeah, fair enough. And, we go home. We know, of course, next episode, we're going out to Nashville, Tennessee, home of music. Lots of fun. I will clarify my stance. I don't actually believe the conspiracy theories. I just think it's fun to talk about. I agree with Christine. I think the nerves got the best of her. I think she's an amazing performer, and I think she's going to do fantastic. Guys, we are coming to you right now. I tried to speed through that as fast as I possibly could so we can get to the good stuff and talk to Brandon more and hear your questions. Let me start it right off as Christine just gathers a few more and we're ready to go. Because this is going to be obvious, I think. Brandon, what have you been up to since the show? What are you doing right now, pursuing musically and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I have this amazing production crew here in Nashville. So I've been doing a lot of songwriting with other songwriters, but I tend to write alone and just producing some really high quality songs and then some high quality videos. We had a bunch of video shoots set up. Quarantine kind of messed with that. That was the first time it stung. The quarantine stung. I was like, oh, okay, it's real. But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time, working on my craft and just working on myself and really analyzing what I don't want to do when the options present themselves moving forward. I think that's just as important as figuring out what we are missing. It's like, what don't we want to go back to? So that's been a victory for me. And I would encourage everybody to kind of spend some time doing that.
Yeah.
I have a question. I was actually on a reality show too. So I can relate with you a lot with the social media aspect. And we've seen a lot, like I've seen Julia post a lot about being bullied online and a lot of harassment that she's got, even death threats. Other people are faring a lot better. How do you feel you were perceived by the audience, and have you gotten, how has it been for you with the social media aspect? That's my biggest question.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been highs and lows. I would definitely consider myself a grounded person, and what was shown on the show is not who I am, especially in the holistic aspect of it all. It was rough. I got some cheap jabs and some difficult comments. I've already done this work of forgiveness for myself, and I've already asked for forgiveness for the people who needed it well before the show came out. So it was really me like leading with love and empathy and compassion for the people that weren't doing that for me. So that was super difficult, but I'm so grateful for it all. It's really allowed me to see who I am, what I need to work on, and how grounded I am in myself. And if I'm not, what I need to work on moving forward. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No,
That really, really does.
Yeah,
That's
great.
really awesome that you took that. We work in this a lot. Rachel was on the best season of Big Brother ever. We got a lot of experience in this kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people who watch don't realize that the people who are portrayed on TV is not who you are in real life. Fans and stuff take this stuff so seriously and to heart. And even though we might have given you some flack, and I'll talk about it later because we gave you a little bit of flack too. I totally was like, this is not the person in real life. If you met them on the street, it'd be totally different. We know it.
Right.
Christine, let's hit the chat.
Yes, the chat is bumping right now. They're so happy to see you, Brandon.
Thank you.
A lot of people are upset. They're like,
we got nice people.
You should have made it to this Nashville episode because that would have been so perfect. But a lot of people do want to know. I know you briefly touched on this just now, talking about just kind of what you were walking into with the show and how you've been able to like watch it back and reflect on certain things. Do you feel like there was that people want to know, do you feel like there was any particular conversation or part of the show that was unfairly edited, or you felt like you were misrepresented, maybe a certain water cooler conversation? I don't know.
There was so much that was left out, and unfortunately you're recording so much in 20 different perspectives of that, and then you have to smush it all into a 2-hour episode every week. So that's a challenge for the editors. My hat's off to them, because they're creating an art that like pulls emotional responses out of all of us. I was there and I was still getting fired up, so I was impressed. There was a conversation on my date with Julia in which I told her, listen, I care for Savannah. So I need to go have a conversation with her. I don't feel like her heart's fully in it. And if we can have the right conversation, I'm going to need to choose her. And if we can't, then I would love to continue this on with you. Because I still have care for both of them. That wasn't shown. And I did a really terrible job talking to Savannah. I was a little fired up and a little intoxicated. I'm sure you couldn't tell at all. So that didn't come the best way, but that wasn't, so it surprised me when Julia was so responsive to Natasha. That's what kind of threw me for a loop most of all, I guess, in the entire show. But yeah, that's one of those things. And there were probably dozens among all the cast members that didn't get shown, unfortunately, but that's just how this show works, I guess.
See, that makes a lot of sense, because one of the things that I personally, and I'll just take ownership of it, I gave you a bunch of flack for it, was that one conversation where Natasha said Julia earmuffs, and she straight up asked you, if Savannah had said yes, would you have stayed with her? And you said yes. And I'm going, why didn't you just lie and say no, just so Julia was happy? But if you had already talked to her about that, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I was shocked. Well, it made for good TV because they need a villain, right? So I was shocked that they didn't mention that, and that didn't come up in the date episode or the date section. There were other things that were said that just surprised me that they weren't shown. But again, we all need a villain, so I got to be.
Yeah.
I got to be the one.
Well, it was also, what was so confusing to me on that date was when you guys came in and Julia went directly to Sheridan, basically ended things. And then you were more so back and forth, but it makes sense now that you actually had a conversation with her saying, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, was just basically what you were saying, right?
Yeah. Listen, I didn't say everything right, but I always tried to be honest with everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes that bites you in the ass because people want you to commit, especially in this type of situation. It's like, do or die, let's go. So I don't usually move that fast. But lesson learned.
See, we got another question from a friend.
Yeah, you answered like 2 other questions that we had within that reply, because people were definitely curious about the earmuffs moment, and it was great to get some clarity on that, because a lot of people were like asking if, did you regret answering that question with Julia right there? Do you wish maybe she didn't cover her ears?
It was a little silly, but we're all sleep deprived. We're all just trying to survive on that show. And we're all focused on our performance. And there's just a lot. There's so many dynamics. I have so much respect for reality TV now. The people that decide to go in and take that plunge, because there's so much more than what is seen.
Yeah, for sure. We did get another question, which I'm definitely curious about as well. Like, what was the audition process like for you and like getting into this show? Because it feels like they just cherry picked some really, really good artists. And I'm just curious to know like how you got into the show.
Yeah, I believe they hit me up on Instagram and they like fed my ego a little bit. They're like, "You're a talented, good-looking single man. Would you like to audition?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I went auditioned here in Nashville. Met the casting director, Lindsay. She's super sweet. We had a really great conversation, and then I got to perform one of my original songs. Then they flew me out to LA. We did the whole thing again. Yeah, and I guess I just resonated with the right. I also joke that maybe they needed the token veteran, and so they're like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, I was excited to be there. I was really, really excited.
You were like a hot commodity.
Yeah, 100% you were.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I mean, it's got to do something for your ego, right? I mean,
thank you.
Definitely.
No, I felt good. I connected with so many girls because they were all so talented. I connected with all the guys. I talked to all of them, or most of them, and they're just good people, and they were great. My hats off to the casting directors because they did a phenomenal job. I'm friends with all these people. I respect all of them in so many ways, and yeah, it was fun. It was like, I tell it like it's like you go to a steakhouse when you're hungry. It's like you're not going to order a bad steak. It's just hard to figure out exactly what kind of taste and flavor you want to move on with for the night.
I have a question too.
Go ahead.
I have a question. You said you're friends with everybody. How long after when you left?
Go ahead. Sorry.
How long after when you left did you get a hold of Savannah? And what are your terms with Savannah right now?
Yeah, we're good. I called her, I believe, the next day or the day after, and she was still in LA. I was still in LA, so she was kind enough to meet up with me, and I just got to let her know and apologize for what I did and how I did it. Not so much that I was having feelings for two people. I won't apologize for that, but I did apologize for the way I conveyed that to her. Because it didn't go smoothly, and she's super sweet and super humble and a good human being, and she was able to forgive me, and we're still friends. Yeah, I still care about her. She's an amazing human being.
Do you keep in touch with all the people who were there that didn't end up pairing off, that ended up like kind of going home right away?
Yeah, we've got the pretty solid group text going that we all ping every now just to show some love to each other. Yeah. I would say I'm friends with like 99% of the people on that show. So it's awesome cool feeling. Yeah. I said, if that's all I take away from that, that's a victory because they're phenomenal human beings.
Is there a potential Bachelor Listen to Your Heart tour in the future?
If there is, I would love to be the sound guy.
The sound guy. Oh my God.
I hope so. I don't know.
Come on, man. You're not a roadie.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Thank you. I would be so excited to go on tour with any of those people. Yeah. Phenomenal. We had a lot of fun.
Well, Brandon, you obviously told us how much you want to continue making music and everything you have in the works, but I think before this whole coronavirus pandemic shut everything down, they were floating around the idea that maybe some of the Listen to Your Heart folks would go to Paradise or join the Bachelor world in some way. Is that something are you like totally turned off from it now, or is it something you would consider again?
Wait, Brandon doesn't know what Paradise is, Christine. He's never watched the show before.
So I haven't seen it, but a lot of people have hinted that you would be a good candidate for it. I'm like, is that a compliment?
Is that a compliment?
I would be super excited to go and do this adventure again for sure.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we talked about how much pressure there is to like say I love you and do all, things like that. I know going into this, you want to, further your music career and find somebody, but like coming out of it on the end of it now, like, are you more satisfied with maybe what this show did for you as an artist versus, I would say it's not working out with the girls on the show?
Yeah, I would say I'm just happier for the opportunity to for this show to be like a mirror of self-reflection, honestly. I hope that doesn't sound like insincere. It's just like, I realized that I got some shit I need to work on. I realized I did a lot of things well, and I would love to continue to go find love. I think it takes a courageous person to be on a show like this. And so I was vibing with so many of the women because they were on a level that says, like, I'm willing to take this risk. I'm willing to air my dirty laundry on national TV. That takes a pretty heroic human being. And again, the musicality didn't hurt anything at all. Yeah. I fell in love with a lot of voices.
Yeah,
That's really awesome.
That's really great. Christine, do we have one last question for Brandon from the chat?
Make
Make it rough.
Oh.
Oh wow! All
You took away all the
I
sting with the earmuffs incident. Like that was the stinger, and you just demolished that right away. So
I hope I don't get in trouble for that. We'll see. I might be calling. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, who's in the 1%? You said you get along with 99%.
Oh, that's a rough one.
Okay.
Oh man,
I regret you asking me to make it.
I feel like we already know.
Well, yeah. So I've reached out to Sheridan. He's been very cordial about the whole thing, but I don't think that has been fully forgiven. And you know, the worst part is that we bonded pretty tight over the show until that date. So that was unfortunate. And then I think that's it. I think I'm still talking to everybody, including Natasha. So we're good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure if Sheridan were to hear this, he might reach out and say what's up, because I don't think he has any ill will towards me. He's just, that probably stung a little bit and hurt, and I can totally understand why.
Well, we'll get up in there in his DMs and try to get him on the show.
Slide right in there.
I tried to get him on here, but I had no response. I had response.
Yeah, it's okay. We loved having you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Guys, we're going to wrap it up right now. Before we go, because Brandon, once again, thank you so much. Guys, thanks for watching the show. Brandon, shout out some stuff. Give us your social media, and where can people hear more of your music right now?
Sure, yeah. So I'm on all the streaming platforms under Brandon Mills. Brandon Mills Music is my Instagram, my Facebook. What else we got out there? Twitter is Brandon Mills Muse, M-U-S. Am I missing anything? BrandonMillsMusic.com. That's my website. Yeah, a lot of good music coming out. There'll be a single dropping May 29th called Glistening. I'm really, really, really proud of. So
nice.
You can pre-save that on all the platforms right now. So bring it.
That's my birthday, Brandon. So thank you for that gift.
God.
Hey, that was planned.
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna call you and FaceTime you and sing it to you live. Are you open to that?
I'm so here for that. Yes. Oh my God.
That's amazing. My friend, thank you once again for coming on. We really appreciate you sharing this stuff. We love watching you on the show. And we just appreciate the heck out of you, man. We hope you stay safe and have a fun rest of your quarantine.
yeah, we'll keep it fun. You guys have been so fantastic. Thank you. And I'm definitely going to watch the show next week. I'm hooked.
Oh, you got to watch it, because not only do you need to watch it, but all of our friends watching, you guys know AfterBuzz has you covered for this entire quarantine and beyond. So go ahead and subscribe, give us a 5-star review, thumbs up, all the stuff wherever you're listening to us. You got to come back next week, just like Brandon is, because we might have another special surprise guest.
Hey.
I don't know, but maybe it's probably pretty good. Guys, until next week, Christine, where can our friends find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Christine I Alexis and on Twitter at Christine Bean. Send me some good listen to your heart memes. I'm here for it.
Rachel?
Hey, you can find me on Instagram at Rachel Swindler or on Twitter at Rachie Swin.
And guys, my name is Mike Feeling. You can find me everywhere at Mike Feeling. Brandon, thank you once again. Guys, we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.